Welcome to Stars Hollow Yarns, a Gilmore Girls inspired yarn shop in Washington, Connecticut. Owner Lisa is really passionate about bringing in yarns that you may not see in other places. Let's go check them out.
Hi, my name is Lisa Clark, and I am the owner of Stars Hollow Yarns.
And we're going to take a tour. Well, where do we want to start?
All right, so the shop is set up in, we try to be a fairly organized shop and have things easy for people to find.
Nice.
We're going to kind of start a little bit backwards going here because it's a little more open and easier to see. Katie and Cindy, Katie's our manager, Cindy's one of the girls who works here. They always create these little vignettes up front.
Nice.
So we like to have current patterns and kind of little projects that people can work on. And here we either have new stuff or because it's the fall, we'll have some Gilmore Girls stuff.
Fun.
Because Stars Hollow Yarns.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then over here, this is one of the newest yarns that we brought in. This is called Chaos Yarn.
Oh.
Not many people have this.
I've not seen this before.
Yeah, it's Katie actually found this. This is an organic yarn, which is one of the big things we do for our shop. We try and find organic, fair trade, natural fibers, non-superwash if possible. So she brought this in like this fabulous rainbow of colors.
Yeah.
And because we have all of this stuff that uses mohair, brushed alpaca, etc., that works really, really well. And this has been, people love this yarn.
Yeah.
It's soft. You know how with mohair or brushed alpaca, it pills?
Mm-hmm.
This does not pill.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, no matter what you put it with, it doesn't pill. If you put it with a yarn that normally pills, it won't pill.
It holds on to everything.
It's like a unicorn.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I like that.
And now we're coming to Woolfolk. And what I can tell you about Woolfolk, it's one of my absolute favorite yarns. One of the reasons I brought it in is because they put 1% of their proceeds back into the land, the shepherds, etc. So they take care of the sheep. And the micron count of Woolfolk yarn is the closest micron count to cashmere that you can get for merino.
Wow.
It's called Ultimate Merino.
Oh, you could just like dive into this.
Yeah. This is like you want a
nice.
bathtub full of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We got a bunch of stuff that's knit up in it. So we try to have samples of all these different things. So Woolfolk is one of 3 companies that we brought in specifically because they have natural fibers. Mm-hmm. They're good with their community. They give back. It works with our ethos. Mm-hmm. And the reason I opened the shop was to bring in natural, organic yarns that people had never heard of before.
Yeah.
So we try to avoid the brand name, typical big box stuff, mm-hmm. And bring in the more unique and give people exposure to things they might not have seen anywhere else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's a lot of yarn shops that carry the more standard, more well-known brands. Mm-hmm. And so if we don't have it, we send it to one of the other shops because everybody around here works very well together.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. It's the yarn community is the yarn community. You know what I mean? Like there's yarn crawls and there's all kinds of stuff and everybody supports each other really well. So we all kind of have our niche. So,
I love that.
Yeah.
So you can go everywhere and it's okay.
Yeah. I mean, I love it when people go to other shops because then they can come back and say, oh, they did this and they have this fabulous sample mm-hmm. and blah, blah. They meet the owner and like it's a community. Mm-hmm. It's not an us versus them.
Yeah.
It's, cliche, but rising tide lifts all boats. Mm-hmm. Like I don't want anybody to go out of business because mm-hmm. I'm not going to carry the stuff that they carry.
Sure.
I can't carry everything. Mm-hmm. But so Woolfolk is one of the big brands we carry. Mm-hmm. There's also Julie Asseline is people don't know this yarn.
Semi nearby, right? Or no?
No, this is in Canada.
Oh, in Canada.
Yeah, up near Quebec. Yeah. She just came by and had a trunk show and sat in on a stitch circle.
Oh,
and
nice.
Yeah, she's super, super sweet. She and her husband, I found them Knit Stars. Do you know Knit Stars?
Yes, yeah.
So I've done Knit Stars since the very beginning and they were on the very first episode. Oh. And it was before I started the shop.
Very cool.
So I had heard of them, I had seen them, and I'll show you some of the other
Rambouillet and
ones too.
Targhee, I love that.
Oh yeah, she uses really unique blends.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Anatolia.
That's nice.
Yep, that is part of the reason I love this. Is it's got a lot of silk. The
it
silk,
does.
it's 60-40 mohair silk.
Nice.
So that's another really beautiful one that you can hold with something else. This is Nurtured. That's what this sweater is made out of that I'm wearing.
Oh, wait, what is the pattern?
It's called Letho
Mhm.
by Natasha Hornby.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to step back so you're not like in
oh,
the
no,
wall.
you're okay.
And here's Cindy.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I have ADD. I'm going to like flack back and forth to like a zillion things. Cindy works with us and she's been here almost a year now.
Yeah, October.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm going to give you this because I want to hear. Here, just flip it on right there.
Cindy, tell your story.
Tell us everything.
Tell us
much of
everything.
a
I want to
story.
know what sweater you're wearing.
This is Mira? No, Mina? Mira.
Mira.
Mira
Mhm.
by Sasha Heyer from her Island Vibes book.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh,
and I
yes.
and
She
I
was
made
here.
it with the straw yarn we have from Wool Oak, and I'm obsessed with it. I wear it all of the time.
Is that the
Yeah,
linen we just
That's
saw?
the linen.
Yes. Yeah, and it
Cool.
really softens. Like I feel like that
Yeah, I
yarn
feel
people
it.
yeah, of course. I feel like when you
Oh,
first pick it
yeah,
up, it's like
yeah.
a little bit rustic, but
Yeah.
it softens, especially
Yeah.
because I wear it literally once a week.
Yes.
Super cute.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So where will we see you around here if someone comes into the shop?
My favorite thing to do is pick out color combinations for people. So if
Okay.
someone comes
she's
in and they
amazing
have
at it.
like a color work sweater or, especially with the chaos yarn up front, I have so much fun. I did a class on the Piet sweater.
Oh.
If you remember that one, it's like a plaid.
Mhm.
And that's my favorite. I love picking out colors for people. So if they come in and they're stumped, it's my favorite thing to do.
Now we're in a whole
Now we're in a
room.
whole room. So we have a few other things on this wall here that we will see probably on our way through. But what we try to do is fingering and lace here, sport, there's a sign way up there, DK going into worsted and bulky, and it kind of follows the same down here.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what are some of the more like unique, like I don't think I've seen this
You haven't.
before.
We are one of 2 shops in the country that carries it.
Really?
Yeah, I met them the first time I went to TNNA. I met them. They are based in Wales. They actually just opened a mill in
Wow.
Wales. They've
Mhm.
always been in the UK. But have you heard of the GOTS standard, the Global Organic Textile Standard?
Maybe.
You've probably seen it on labels and not even realized it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an organic certification that yarns get when they go through this whole process. They have to manage certain, or they have to meet certain standards to
Okay.
get there. I can't remember what they are, but
yeah.
they're very high standards.
Amazing.
And Garthenor was asked by the UK government or whoever put it together to help create those standards.
wow.
Yeah. And they use really, really interesting blends. So like Priscelli, for
Mhm.
example, is Polwarth and Romney.
Nice.
Yeah. And we have, so it's in the Falkland Islands and Southwest England. And it's scoured, spun, and dyed in Yorkshire and hand finished in West Wales.
Wow.
So they
So
try
every
to,
part of their process you can.
you know
track
exactly
and-
where
yeah.
it comes from, and it's primarily very local focused. So that's one. The other one that I absolutely love, that I don't see anywhere else, is
No.
Chimera,
Mm-hmm.
and it's by River Knits.
Okay.
Again in the UK.
Yeah.
They started on a houseboat.
What?
Yeah.
That makes sense to River Knits.
Right?
I like that.
So they do all natural, non-superwash yarn. This one's a striped marl, obviously. It's kind of similar to Spin Cycle.
It's so pretty.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at all the colors.
Yeah.
This is so cool.
And they're so creative, and they're all natural dyes.
Whoa.
Like this bright color,
Mhm.
you don't see in natural dyes.
Mm-mm.
I have never seen anyone else do this in natural
No.
dyes. So to be able to get these colors and not have any chemicals
Mhm.
is really important to me.
Yeah.
So I was thrilled when I found these guys.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're introducing me to so many new yarns.
Oh, there's a ton. If I had hours, I could show you all the new stuff that we have.
This is cool.
Yeah. So then another company that we carry a lot of is the Fiber Company. That's one of our, we kind of
Yeah.
have 3 major companies that we work with.
Okay.
So Wool Folk, which you saw earlier,
Mhm.
and Fiber Company, and then we'll get to Blue Sky in a few minutes. And the reason that I carry them is because of, again, what I was talking with Wool Folk. They give back to their community. They're very conscious of diversity and inclusion,
Mhm.
and they're thoughtful about the way their yarns are put together.
Yeah.
So Daphne, who created Fiber Company, I can't say her last name. I will butcher it, but it's Marinopoulos or something.
Oh, cool.
But she grew up in a mill. Her dad was in a mill, and so she learned about all the different textures and properties of all these different fibers and how to blend them together for certain things. So her yarns are meant for specific types of projects. So she does a bunch of really beautiful blends that are specifically for, like, this is great for shawls and cowls. You can do sweaters in it, but it's better for smaller projects. And then Luma is a cotton that can do anything. We have a couple samples we did Rift. Can't remember the other
Little
ones.
like t-shirts and things.
Yeah, like anything for like a
Nice.
cotton. And because we're in New England, we don't get a whole lot of, summer stuff. So we have stuff usually that's like a cotton blend.
Nice.
Because most people just go down to Florida and get the cotton yarns down there when they snowbirds. Another one that Katie had brought in is Les Garçons.
Oh, yes.
Have you seen this one?
I have. I saw them at a show.
Oh, very cool.
Very nice.
Yeah. So she brought that in along with Origin, and that's Wolcott Yarns, who worked with Les Garçons for this one.
Oh, I see. Okay. I was like, wait, I thought they were in Canada, but I see it's a collaboration.
It's a collaboration.
Nice.
Again, community, bringing people together. We love that. So we have a few other things in here that you'll probably see other places, but we also have this one, which you will not see anywhere, is Critical Hit Dyes. She's local.
Oh, cool.
They are local, I should say. They actually do a podcast called Pardon My Stash.
Oh.
PMS.
That came up on my YouTube. Yeah,
Did
that's
it?
funny. Yeah, I think it knows when you're like in certain areas and it's like, hey, you might like this.
Yes. Yeah. So they dyed a bunch of stuff for us. I'm hoping we can get more in soon.
Yeah.
But it's only 2 of them and they have a lot of stuff and they have a kid. And so we're really happy when we get
Connecticut.
that. They are here in Connecticut.
Nice.
They are in Wolcott, I believe. I can't remember.
Very cool.
But yeah, they're local. More wool folk. We carry monos because, well, first of all, I love the yarn and I've loved it for years. But they have, I don't know if anybody knows this. Some people do. They started in the 60s. It's a women's cooperative that started in the 60s, and it has always been women working with women, for women and children, and it helps women in disadvantaged parts of the world, well, in Uruguay, to rebuild their communities and to get independent financial support so that they help, like they give money back to the community, they're building schools. There's all kinds of phenomenal stuff that they do. So on top of just being amazing yarn and all natural and great fibers and stuff, they just have a really good heart. It's like a purpose. There's a purpose to it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I grew up in Minnesota. So Blue Sky's from northern Minnesota. I'm sure you know them. They're everywhere.
We learned that when we went to Minnesota.
I
didn't
saw
know
that
before. Yeah.
Yeah. They're so sweet, and it's such a great company, and they do such amazing stuff. And again, it's one of those companies that started with, they started with alpacas because it was Blue Sky alpacas back when I started knitting.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that. And then I remember they came, well, not with this cotton, the thicker one. And
yes,
it was
the
like,
one over here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was like,
The
that was
sweater.
all the rage.
Yeah. And then they came out with the Aran weight cotton. And like I said, I don't have a whole lot of cottons in the store, but I am also really, shall we say, neurotic about what stuff we bring in.
Yeah.
Because if I don't like working with it, or if Katie doesn't like working with it, we don't bring it in.
Yeah.
So we always have companies bring us samples, or we'll order a sample online to see how it looks or how it feels.
And then you work it up.
And then we work it up to see what it goes with, if we're thinking of pairing it, so that we can give advice to people who visit.
Yeah.
And
that's great.
And be more helpful. Yeah.
Well, why don't we go and see what you have upstairs?
All right.
Have a few more
Let's
things
go.
up there, right?
Yeah, we do. And we're going to walk past all kinds of fun stuff as well.
Ooh.
We've got kits that Katie put together, Cloud.
Love that.
This is that fiber company Luma that I was telling you about.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's Monos Fino.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we've got a zillion ranunculi. We have
ranunculi.
Yes,
they're breeding.
Well, we have a friend who's worked at the shop periodically, and she made, I think it was something like, last count was 183 ranunculi.
One person made that many?
Yeah.
Wow,
it was
this
fun.
is a cool space up here. Sorry, everyone.
Sorry, Cindy.
We're here.
Sorry,
Hi.
Katie. Should we go over and meet Katie?
I'm the store manager. I started almost a year ago now. It's coming up on my year anniversary. And I pretty much just do a little of everything.
She runs the
that.
show.
Runs the show.
She does.
That's
She
amazing.
has made this place even more magical than
Oh.
I ever imagined possible.
You have to see our little new Gilmore Girls corner that we're just finishing up this morning because we
you're
get a
working on
lot
it
of
right now.
Gilmore Girls fans up here. People who don't even knit or crochet that just want to come in here because
It's called Stars Hollow Yarns.
Exactly. So I wanted leaf peeping season is the best time of year for those people that come. They come on like weekends. We get bachelorette parties. We get girls like college weekend reunions. We get, moms and daughter, groups coming up together. So we wanted to have something that would, entice them.
And these quotes are from a place called Copper Boom Studio, which is in England.
Oh, cool.
It was a while ago that we got these, but Copper Boom is a saying in Gilmore Girls.
Mhm.
So, which whenever a Gilmore Girl comes into the shop or a fan, Copper Boom. So it's a whole thing.
One day I'll learn when I
You'll
watch more
figure
of
it
the
out.
show.
You'll figure it out. But it's got all these great quotes
Very cute.
that we can frame and all that.
Very cute.
Yeah.
All right, what yarns do you have up here?
So this is Elemental Effects. It's a Shetland fingering. It's great for color work.
Wow.
We're trying to find a few more options for that because Elemental Effects switched owners, and so we want to get things a little. I think Katie was thinking of bringing in, what was it, Jameson's?
Yeah, Jameson's
Oh, okay.
Bio Shetland, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So something that kind of goes along with those same lines.
Yeah. Very nice.
And also River Knits that I mentioned earlier does a like super local micro brew, whatever you call it, of Shetland from Shetland sheep that basically live around the corner. And then we've got some self-striping sock yarn through Lang. And Lang, did you know that Lang is a family-owned business? It's been a family-owned business for generations. I think they're on like their 6th generation now, but the same family has owned it for years.
That is so cool.
Yeah. And
Get
this
a bunch
is
of samples up
yeah,
here.
this is a whole bunch of samples. We've had some of these for a while, so we're rotating. So these are actually for sale.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But there's a lot of different patterns that people have. We've got a couple crochet things because we don't want to forget the crocheters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I wanted to be a welcoming shop. I wanted to be a shop where everybody felt comfortable coming and, hanging out and didn't feel excluded. They
Definitely.
don't walk in and have like a group of people just talking to each other and all of that.
Yeah.
So, so
Totally understand that. So I'd love to learn more about the history of your store. Let's start with like why you wanted to open a yarn store, and then I want to get into the building itself.
Okay. Well, I have wanted to have my own business for many years. My background is a little insane. I started in theater.
Oh, cool.
I did tons of sports when I was a kid. I moved to New York. I have a degree in musical theater from Cincinnati Conservatory. There were like 9 of us who graduated in my class, like really competitive. And then I decided after a few years of living in New York and traveling and stuff that I wanted dogs in a backyard. So
this is a trajectory that I understand. Yes.
Because I grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and kind of around there, and there's 10,000 lakes and a zillion mosquitoes, and so I was used to water and trees, and we wanted to have kids, my husband and I, and so I kept moving further and further outside of the city, and eventually, believe it or not, was on a Gilmore trip, like obsessing with Gilmore.
Okay, so you're
not a Gilmore
really,
trip.
really into Gilmore Girls.
I have been watching Gilmore Girls since it started.
Okay.
Yeah, hence the Stars Hollow.
I love it.
In fact, I had to like dig around to make sure that it wasn't copyrighted or that I wasn't stepping on somebody's toes or whatever. And Stars Hollow itself is not copyrighted.
Okay.
At least I hope so. If this goes out and I somehow get a note from Warner Brothers, I'm screwed. But
I thought it was a real place. I was like, oh yeah, we're going to Stars Hollow, Connecticut.
Most people think it is. And then they get here and they're like, where's Luke's?
Oh,
where's...
yes.
Yeah, so we have to let them down a little bit. But there are a bunch of really cool places. There's a fabulous bookshop down the road.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, okay, circling back, tangent
You wanted
C.
to start the yarn store.
I wanted to start a store, and I ended up, well, at that point in my life, I ended up working on Wall Street to pay the bills.
Okay.
And so I was on Wall Street for like 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I did that. I was in the research side of it. And then a whole bunch of things happened with my family and my mom and all of that. And so I just got to the point where I realized I didn't want to do that anymore, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I also had little kids. My oldest was, I think, 5 years old at that time, and my youngest was 1.
Wow.
And it just got to be like, it wasn't the balance I wanted. And in my mind, I didn't know what I wanted to do. But my husband was like, you've always wanted to open a yarn shop.
Yeah.
And I was obsessing. I had I have a yarnbrary at home.
Cool.
I ended up, and I'm obsessed with reading as well. So I had it full of books. I moved the books downstairs and I moved the yarn in.
I love that.
It's everywhere.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So he said, why don't you just open a shop? And I didn't think I could. And so I kind of poo-pooed it. And then I went to Vogue Knitting Live that year, and I started talking to people. And somebody who had a shop and closed her shop but was dyeing her own yarn said, if you do open a shop, I have one piece of advice. Only work with people you like. Because there's too many options out there, right? It doesn't make sense to bring in something from a company you don't believe in or that you don't like yourself. Hence the trying all of the yarns ourselves and making sure we love everything that comes in here. So I started kind of thinking about it. And then that summer I went to TNNA, the big yarn mecca. And like I said, I'd been going to Rhinebeck for many, many years. So I'd always kind of had that itch. And my husband was just like, just go for it. What's the worst that can happen? And so I started looking around for buildings, and I'd always been kind of doing that. Well, since we moved up here 15 years ago. And then suddenly I had seen this building and it was on sale for a few years, but I couldn't afford it. So I kept driving past, and my daughter's school is about 5 minutes up the road. And I love this area, and there's a beautiful lake, and it really does feel like Stars Hollow to me. Like, there's a church across the street and the bells go off, which is another thing you will figure out when you listen to Gilmore Girls or when you see Gilmore Girls. The bells are a big thing. And the bells go off at like 6 minutes after the hour.
Nice.
Not just on the hour.
Handy.
Because it's, Stars Hollow. But so the building, I went and talked to the owners and I said, this space is so incredible. But I don't want to waste your time. I don't have the money to buy. And if there's any way that, tell me if you're flexible at all. If you're not, no problem. And it turned out that when they had bought it from the previous owners, they were going to open their own business as well. And the previous owners gave them a break so that they could grow their business. So he said, come in, take a look at the place, and then give me an offer and we'll see what we can do. So
you were able to buy it?
We bought it.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
So we own, it's a 1/4 acre, which up here is insane.
Well, I want to know what the building was before. Like,
okay.
How old is the building? It's so
the
cool.
building was built in the mid 1800s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it built as a home?
It was, I think so.
Okay.
I honestly can't remember. The guy who grew up in the little studio we have next door actually came here, and we had like a 5-hour conversation one day.
Cool.
Yeah, like his caretaker brought him here so that we could chat. We just sat and talked forever. Yeah. Super sweet guy. He had an antique shop in here originally. There used to be an ice cream shop across the way.
Nice.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah.
Just little small town. He had an antique shop in here, and then, or I think his partner had an antique shop in here, and then he was an artist, and so he used the studio for display, which is
now like a classroom.
It's now a classroom, stitch circle.
Awesome.
Anytime it's not appropriate to sit outside, which we try to sit outside as much as possible because I love it.
Yeah.
And it's just gorgeous. It's so relaxing and peaceful, and I just feel like I'm a very nature based person. So it was really nice to have that space to be able to set that up. And then COVID. So that was even better. Because we opened up the beginning of December, the 1st of December, 2018.
Okay. Gotcha.
So we were open for just over a year when COVID hit.
Gotcha.
So we had just finished renovating it. I think we finished renovating it like 3 weeks after we had to close down.
That was my other question. Did it look like this when you got the place, or it was super different?
No. It was super different. Well, so originally it was like, completely reconfigured. The guys before me, they stripped it down because it was a hedge fund. It was like a satellite office for a hedge fund, right? There were cubicles and printers. It was like, it was very
different than a yarn store.
Yeah.
Or any retail space.
Right. And they were like, wait, you want to do what? We looked at a few places that were okay, but this one just totally captured my heart. And it just reminded me of the Stars Hollow vibe. It gave me that really cozy, comforting feeling. And so they had done all of the beautiful barn board walls, and they stripped everything back to the studs. Those are the original studs from the 1800s.
Whoa.
Yeah. And upstairs,
they're like hand
hewn.
Yes.
Yeah. And you can see the little notches where the cross used to go.
Oh, that's so cool.
Isn't that neat? Yeah. And upstairs, what they did was they salvaged the original floors as much as they could. Yeah. And so all the ones that they could salvage, they put upstairs. So that's all original.
That's so cool.
And the table upstairs actually came with the property.
No way.
Yeah. They got it from the antique shop guy who owned it before them.
Wow.
Yeah. Because it's a gorgeous table, and it's one of those that doesn't have any hardware. It's like
it's like all
it's
fits
all
together.
Like peg and there's a name for it. It's peg and hole or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
People can tell us what it's called.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody will know out there. I'm sure we'll get it.
Well, I want to know, for people maybe who are like can't come by and visit, like how can they follow along with what you're doing and keep up with you?
Well, we have a few different ways. So everything we have in the shop is available online.
Nice.
Once in a while, there will be a couple of things where we're not allowed by the vendor to sell it online for whatever reasons. So those, of course, we respect. But then Katie will set up kits and stuff like that for pre-order, and she'll promote those. You can also go on Instagram. We have an Instagram account, Stars Hollow Yarns. We have a Facebook page. We're not crazy active on that one. We're more active on Instagram. And then we have a newsletter that you can sign up on our website with. Yeah.
What kinds of classes and community things do you have going on here?
Well, since Katie took over, which has been amazing, she has been really building the classes. Before, I didn't really have capacity. So we weren't really able to kind of build that. We had stitch circles, but we didn't have that kind of a thing. And she has been phenomenal about, she peeks in. Hi, Katie. She's now doing a super full class schedule. Awesome. So we've actually she just last night published our new class schedule. So every Thursday and in every newsletter and all of that, you can always look and see what's happening. Right now we've got a couple of sweater classes, a couple of colorwork classes, like a basic cable knit hand warmer thing. And then we always have our knit 101 and crochet 101.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And we have, Laura is one of our teachers, and she's been knitting for like 1,000 years. She knows everything, and everybody loves her. And she's just one of the kindest people you will ever meet. There's actually a couple of Gilmore patterns.
Oh.
I contacted Lisa Lucia, who they're no longer in existence, but Lisa still owns the rights to the patterns, and she has specific Gilmore patterns.
That's cool.
From the show that were worn in the show.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. It's really cool. She, I should have brought some of them.
I'll bring some more.
Do you have some?
Yeah.
Oh, yay.
So like the first couple of years, we set up an entire little Gilmore corner for that had all kinds of things that had been worn in the show. But she had been friends with the costume designer, and the costume designer asked if they would design something.
Oh.
So there's a dots and dashes scarf that Rory wears in a scene, and there's the Eponymous pattern, which is a color work shawl done with short rows, I believe, or scarf, sorry. and that Paris wore in one of the episodes. And then the other one is from the revival, and it's a jumbo coffee sweater that Lane wears. And it's a sweater. It's almost like a baseball raglan tea sweater kind of thing. But then it has a jumbo coffee in a big, huge red cup, which is very Gilmore. So yeah.
That is so cute.
Yeah. At some point, I've always wanted to put kits together, but you can't find the patterns anywhere because they're not online.
This is the most famous one, so.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is Eponymous.
Okay.
And that's done in Fiber Company.
That's really nice.
Road to China Light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Isn't that awesome?
So can you get these patterns here?
Here.
You can get them here.
Not online.
Wow.
They have to be in hard copy.
Cool.
We sell them on the website, but we have to ship them hard copy.
Wow.
Yeah, which I kind of feel bad for because, somebody orders a pattern and
they have to wait.
They have to wait, and they also can I just get the PDF so I can start it now?
Yeah. But at least you can get them, which is
Exactly.
really cool.
And the designer, that's the way designer wants it. So
I'll hold on to it for you.
yeah, it's awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
Okay, well, I
thanks.
have one more question for you.
Yes.
What is something that you're excited about coming up in the next year or so?
It's actually, this is going to sound crazy. So last year in the summer, I had been pushing myself so hard that I kind of collapsed, basically, because it's a lot of work, and I tend to be a perfectionist. And so I was really pushing, and like I said, I had young kids and I wanted to spend time with them, and my daughter was going to high school and I wanted to be able to go to her for school visits and stuff. So, so I was thinking of closing the store.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I took a break, and we ended up being closed for 3 months. And I really didn't know what to do. I had a business advisor, Gwen Bortner, who is phenomenal and had been helping me. And so, we kept talking about it and figuring out what to do. And then Katie, bless her heart, had been thinking of reaching out to me. And for a couple of years, I'd been thinking about reaching out to her, but she was working at another yarn shop and I didn't want to poach her. And I really love the owner. And like I said, it's a community.
Yeah.
Plus it's an hour away.
Right.
So I didn't think there was any way that I could convince her to come up here. And so we met for coffee one day, and she said that she had been thinking about reaching out to me. And I said, I'd been thinking about reaching out to her, and we got to talking. And I was like, I know you're not going to want to drive an hour, but I would like for you to consider managing the shop. And she was like, because it's a lot, it's a long commute. She's got a 10-year-old as well, the same as my youngest now. And so we talked about it and we figured out a way, and she wanted to kind of take the reins, and she wasn't able to do that at the other shop. So she just wanted the opportunity, and it was perfect timing. So she kind of took over.
And that's been like a year?
It's been like a year.
And it's going great.
It's going great. She's just like, it was like a week or two. She was like, no, I'm good. And I was like, okay, I'm not, no, there's no way. But she is. And she and I are so simpatico with the concept of the shop and the vibe. And I hate that word, but she gets the whole, I want to bring in natural fibers. We want to find companies that support worthy causes, and we're a member of 1% for the planet, so every year we give 1% of our sales to environmental causes or social. It's really important to me. And we even we have some merch. We have a Stars Hollow bag, and that is recycled fiber, and it is also the company that it comes from is a member of 1% for the planet as well.
Cool.
So I try to support companies that do that, like the coffee mugs that we have. They have a real cork bottom.
Oh, neat.
As opposed to the fake cork ones, which I discovered people make. I did not know that. I wouldn't have imagined, but cork is such a good, eco-friendly substance. That's not the right word, but
material.
It's yes, thank you. Eco-friendly material, and it's a great company as well. So so we try to do stuff that's good for the environment, good for the community, and make it easy for people. Like basically, I want people to feel like they're coming into somebody's living room who's like their best friend, and they don't have to clean up afterwards. It's like
so
taking
awesome.
care of somebody else's kid.
Yeah.
Like, okay, here,
Yes.
I'm gonna leave now.
Absolutely.
But so this next year, I'm really, in a roundabout way,
Yeah.
this next year, I'm really looking forward to figuring out how to balance, how to be more engaged with the shop, but also have time for my family
Sure.
and enjoy, like I was able to go to a retreat a few weeks ago to Squam Arts Workshop,
Oh, fun.
which I'd never been to and I'd wanted to go for like 15 years. So I can do that. I can go to H&H. I can go to other things and discover new people and meet new vendors for companies and find out what people are doing. And
That's so
yeah.
awesome.
And so Katie lets me do that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for having us here today.
Oh, thank you. I'm so
Taking a
glad to
tour.
have met you.